Hi Truthers, welcome back to my channel, Nutritious Lives and the Wellbeing Guinea Pig. Today's subject is very deep and very profound, but I don't know whether you've gathered at this point that I am very deep and very profound. So if you're tuning in to any of my videos, you know what to expect. But on a side note, I am very fun as well. But for these videos, I think it's really important to emphasise the emotional side of our existence. You know, everything for me is questioning why we do what we do, why we live the life that we live. And it comes down to really the biggest question of all. And it's a question that I've been kind of asking myself over the last 10 years really. And the answer keeps on evolving, and I'm sure that it's going to keep on evolving still. It's going to go on, and I'm going to keep asking myself this question, and I'm going to keep looking and defining the answers that come up. So without further ado, the question is, who am I? So it seems like it's a really simple question to ask yourself, doesn't it? Like, who am I? Well, I know who I am. I'm fun Jen. I'm this for my friends. I'm something else for my family. I'm something else for my colleagues at work. But that's not you, and that's not the real you. And this is the faces, and this is the ego that we wear really. And in it all masks who we really are underneath. And as I said, it's quite deep. But I want to talk to you about what I mean by who are you. And when I've asked myself this question, I couldn't answer it. Like, I haven't been out, and I'm still finding the answers, but it's becoming a little bit clearer as I go on. But I couldn't answer it. Like, I don't know. I'm just me. Like, I just am. But who am I? And I think I like to use an analogy of for me with regards to boxes, and I'll do this analogy in a little minute. But I want to talk to you about the ways that we show a face for every environment that we're in. So we have a certain face that we show to family. We have a certain face that we show to our friends. We have a certain face that we show to our boyfriend and girlfriend, a certain face that we show to our children. But none of that epitomises who you are within. And when you start asking yourself this question of who am I, what often comes up is a lot of confusion, a lot of unclear. And really, when you start to want to know the answer to this question, what can happen, and what definitely happened with me, was my world imploding and exploding. And the reason why that happened is because when we start to want to go on our journey of really looking within, and we really want to make changes to what comes up when it shows us who we are, when we ask the question, and then we start to realise, well, I'm someone who hasn't been very happy with circumstances that I'm in. And I'll go into more detail about that, what I mean. So going back to the faces, so when we're at work or when we're at home, when we do the school run, for example, for me being a mom, wherever we are in our circumstances with family, everyone always paints a picture of who they want us to be, what fits with their ego. And it's a beautiful statement that I like to say to myself. I am whatever you think that I am. And just have a little think about that. So we go through our life, and every facet of our life, we are what people paint us to be, what fits for their little box, which I'll come back to the analogy, their box of us, with a little bow tied up of, that's Jen, because that's what she shows me here, so that's Jen. At work with your colleagues, oh, that's Jen because she acts a certain way, she helps here, or she's quirky and she tells the joke, so that's Jen there, right? So tied up in a little box with a neat little bow. And the same with our family. So, for example, you were growing up and you had ADHD, for example, and this is what your family, your cousins, your auntie, your uncle, your mom, your dad, whatever, this is the box that they put you in, you know, with a little bow of, oh, Jen's always been crazy, or she's, you know, she's got ADHD and she's always done this and been wild there, or, you know, or she's always, on the flip side, I'm just giving examples here, but she's always been really meek-mannered, and, you know, she's very quiet, and when we get together at Christmas or birthdays, we know Jen's going to just be really quiet and not say a lot, because that's Jen, little box with the bow. And so you understand that in all of these facets of our life, we really fit into the boxes that everyone gives us, you know. I mean, even with our peers at school, our friends growing up, oh, Jen's the good-looking one, or Jen's the outgoing one, or, you know. And then if we keep those friendship groups, that's who we are going forward. But I'll come back to what I said to you and what I asked you. Who am I? Like, who am I? And fundamentally, who do I want to be? So when I started asking myself this question, this is where the combustion inside and in the 3D, what we call outside environment, exploded and imploded, because I had to really branch out of these boxes that everybody had put me in. And I still am, I'm still navigating it, but I'm on a big journey, and it's been a big process. And where you fit on that scale is according to where you are on your own journey, and it's a big process. So I'll bring you to the analogy box and really where I'm at on my personal journey. So, and I see this all the time when I'm talking to my friendship group, you know, like I say, every facet. And I don't say anything or do anything. I just navigate my way to being me. And what I've had to do is lose people along the way. And this is inevitable, unfortunately. In finding who you are, who am I, it's inevitable that you're going to have to move away from certain people. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's something simple and you can do overnight. But you've got one life that you've got to live for you. And so often we live our life for everybody else, what makes everybody happy. And in the process, we really are not living authentically, and we're not living to our full potential of who we're meant to be. And like I say, I'm not saying it's easy to find out who you are, because sometimes, you know, circumstances you're in where you're finding out who you are in a certain area, like you're splitting up from your partner, or you want to break away from your job, but it feels you know, you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're paying the mortgage and this is, but what you've got to understand is it all comes from the story within you. It's all about the story that you're telling yourself, because you can, no matter what your circumstances are, you can change those circumstances. And I know that's not necessarily going to be easy, but you can change those circumstances if you change that story. And it might take some time, but you've got to start doing one step at a time to change that story, to make it a better outcome for you, for your life, for your happiness. Because you may not even think this is related to any of the videos that I've done previously, but it is, in the sense that it's all to do with the story. Like going through this anxiety and going through everything that I've had to keep going through. This time around, I'm learning a lesson of detaching. Like, I'm learning detachment. I'm learning how to really not force an outcome, because my ego wants me to sort of go after and attach myself to a certain outcome, where again it was just all a story. So I've got to learn the lesson of detaching, and in the process, again, going through the lessons of going through anxiety again, but knowing the outcome is going to be asking myself, who am I? And I'm going to have more answers about who I am, right? So I want you to understand, like, going back to the box analogy. So with the boxes, you know, as I say, everyone's got a box in all areas of our life. We've got a face, and people put us in a box, and we're comfortable to be in those boxes, but never really knowing and understanding the box that we want to put ourselves in. So what I want you to do is, I want you to, when you've grasped this, what I'm saying to you on an intellectual basis, so you can really comprehend what I'm saying, I want you to start taking yourself out of those boxes. And the process isn't going to be overnight, right? So say, for example, this is just one facet. Say, you know, your friendship, a certain friendship group that you've been used to, and you meet up with them once a week, football, or, you know, or meeting up with your girlfriends and you go for a meal. And the box that your friends have put you in, at that time in your life, you're not in that box that they've put you in. I mean, for example, one thing that comes to mind for me is a certain group of friends that I love and adore put me in a box of fun gen. And the thing is, because I'm not in that frame of mind at the moment, that is one facet of me. That's one part of Jen that makes up a massive part of, because I realise that Jen is so much, like, there's so much to Jen's character. You know, that's just one part. But they don't feel comfortable with you not being that role, because that's the box and the bowl that they've put you in, right? So if you're not happy with that, forever living in that box, and you can't get them to understand that this is where you are right now, because that feels uncomfortable to them, and then they want to shun you or discredit what you're going through because it doesn't fit right with their ego. That's not you. That's not your issue. Your main priority is making yourself happy. As I say, we've got one life and we've got to live it. So if that's not working, that box, you've got to bring your energy back from that and move it to an energy what fits. So, and the irony is, before I finish the box analogy, is that once you go through this painful period of maybe separating from the family members that didn't see you for who you are or where you are in your life, or you know, the partner that you're splitting up with, or you know, all that. If they don't see your journey of what you're trying to do for you, then they were never meant to be yours anyway. They were never meant to be in your life, because the ones that are meant to be in your life, the ones that really get you, will get you. And it won't be hard, because they'll see you, because those are your tribe. Whether that means changing your work environment, changing your friendship groups, separating from your family, or at least limiting your time. Because the importance of your growth, your own personal journey, there's nothing greater. So back to the box analogy that I keep trying to finish. So over time, detract away from what doesn't serve you. You know, bring that energy back into you, whatever doesn't serve you, knowing that what you're doing is for you. And then what you're going to do is eventually, when all this self-combusting has gone on and all this outer exploding has done, and when you're in a better situation and you can see that things are working out for you, and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you can see that you've done everything that you've done for your ultimate happiness, because let's face it, that's what we're going for, right? To be happy. You're going to put yourself in your own box. You know, you're going to find your own little box, and you're going to put a nice little neat bow on that box, and then you're going to open the bow up again. And then, if you're anything like me and what I've been doing in the last so many years, you're going to see other little boxes that you want to try, and you think, I've got my box now and it's working. But however, because I've got so many sides to my personality and so many new ways of looking at life now and so many opportunities, I'm going to just put myself in that little box for a little bit, and that little box, and then try that little box. And what you'll do is you'll take all these experiences, which are never ending and which I'm realising, and you're going to keep expanding your own box. And your box is going to get to a point where, well, I mean, the box can grow and expand infinity. But your tribe and the people that were meant to be with you on your finding your box journey, this is great, finding your box, they were always meant to be with you on this journey. And the ones that weren't, they'll be in memory, and you'll be able to say, thanks for teaching me these lessons. Thank you, I appreciate everything that I went through, the experiences with you. But now I've found my own way, and now I'm expanding my own box, right? So I hope that I've explained this enough, and I hope that just to leave you with that question that I think is fundamentally the most important question that you can ever ask yourself. Well, it has been for me, is who am I? And I really hope that this leads you to a lot of self-fulfillment and a lot of joy within your own life. And yeah, it's more inspiration, and obviously as it comes, and I think about this daily anyway. I mean, this is how deep and profound I am. But when I think of this material, I just think it's quite important to do this very spontaneously. So I hope you've had benefit, and I will see you in the next one.